Northeast Healthy Samantha. Okay, I'm recording. Don't record yet. Recording. Okay, so Mayor, we can, I believe we can start now. Richard, good, we're ready to go.
We're recording.
Okay, so if you can call the meeting.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
Morning. We'll call the meeting to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, that was certainly different.
It's always interesting.
I'm really struggling with this new virtual living. Okay, roll call.
If I could just check, do we have anyone in the waiting room that we don't know who they are?
Someone's listed as admin guest.
Try and let them in and bump them out if it's not someone who's supposed to be here. Okay. I'm sorry. Roll call from the town of Beacon Falls. We have. Can you unmute everyone, please?
Hold on.
You hear me?
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
just Jerry Smith. I'm here.
yeah, town of Beacon Falls, First Selectman Smith is on the phone. From the town of Bethlehem, First Selectman Bard on video.
Yes, sir.
From the city of Bristol, Mayor Zaposasu on video. From the town of Cheshire, we have Jerry Sitko on video.
Yes, thank you.
We have Mayor Zekin. Is that video or phone? We have Mayor Zekin, we believe, on the phone. From the borough of Naugatuck, we have Mayor Hess on video. From the town of Oxford, we have Kristen Rosa on phone. From the town of Plymouth, we have Mayor Merchant on video.
Here.
From the town of Prospect, we have Mayor Chatfield on the phone.
Here.
From the town of Seymour, we have First Selectman Miller on video.
Present.
We do not have Mayor Shelton yet. So no one from, I have no one from Shelton, no one from
Manville's
South
calling
Bend.
in right now.
Okay, all right. First Selectman Manville is coming through in a moment. From the city of Waterbury, Mayor O'Leary.
Here.
From the town of Wolcott, Mayor Dunn.
Here.
On video. And from the town of Woodbury, Barbara Parkinson on video.
Here.
So we hope we have everyone who's participating unmuted. Is there anyone we did not recognize for attendance that's on the board?
Edmond Thomaston.
I didn't call you. I'm sorry, Ed.
First Selectman Temple's here. However, he can't hear anything. So
Who?
trying to get on.
Is that Kristen?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's unrelated to technology, though, by the way.
Okay. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll be switching back and forth between the slides, the meeting information, and those other things. We're asking that you stay muted, especially if you're not participating. All the CEOs will keep you unmuted during discussions, and the staff will stay hidden unless they're called upon. All right, and we are on our way, I hope, to, we did the pledge, we did roll call. Mr. Chairman, it's time for public comment.
Anyone from the public who would like to address the board?
I would note for the record, before we take people around the call, we posted a request for people in the public who wanted to come in and speak live at the meeting. We received no requests by 9:30 this morning, which is the posted time on the website. I'll also let you know that this meeting is being live streamed out over our website and on YouTube.
So someone started to say something when I asked about the public. Anyone from the public would like to address the board?
Hi, good morning. It's Hetty Ayers with Eversource. Can you hear me?
Hi, Hetty. Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. I'm missing my trips to Waterbury and the surrounding towns, and I just wanted to give a couple quick updates this morning. I'm also joined by Samantha Laban as well. First off, just hot off the presses, I just received an email from our manager that all of the community relations specialists on our team will be forwarding today a presentation to share with our public officials on our emergency preparedness and response as situations evolve during the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll be forwarding that on to you today, and we'll be following up with you next week with questions. So watch for that in your emails before the end of the day today. Secondly, I wanted to announce that in recognition of National Electrical Safety Month, we did issue a press release yesterday that's designed to share tips for folks to enjoy a safe spring now that everyone's staying home. I can also forward a copy of that through the COG staff, so that can be forwarded as well. A third item is that the technology grant program that we have talked about before, which makes refurbished laptops available to nonprofits, is on hold currently since we're all working remotely and we're not able to prepare those laptops or deliver them. But I did have a recent inquiry on that front, so I wanted to share that it's on hiatus, but as soon as it becomes available again, we will let you know. And lastly, I just wanted to bring to your attention that Eversource did participate in 2 webinars that were sponsored by Pura on Tuesday. One focusing on residents, one on businesses regarding how the public utility companies, electric, gas, and water are taking action on behalf of those folks in response to the pandemic. And one key takeaway that I wanted to share is that the flexible payment plans that are being put in place now are unprecedented at this point. The industry has never seen it before. So for residents or businesses that are struggling for the first time, we strongly encourage that they reach out and make arrangements for a payment plan during this emergency declaration to ensure that they're protected. We're concerned that folks think they don't need to make those payment arrangements because there is a moratorium currently on shutoffs and on late charges, but again, for their protection, it's best to make those arrangements now before they're no longer available. So I just wanted to share that. The recordings are on the Pura website, so I can also follow up with a link to that as well. Lots of great information from all the companies. And that's all I have this morning. Thank you.
Okay, Hetty. Thanks, Hetty. Anyone have any questions for Hetty? You got off easy, girl.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hetty. Okay, item agenda number 2, NVCOG administrative items. Approval of the minutes from the April 9th, 2020 CNB, MPO, and NVCOG meeting.
So moved as presented, Ed Mon.
Second, Peters.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second. Do we have any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Thank you.
Chatfield will abstain. I wasn't there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Item agenda 2B, approval of agency financial report and summaries for period ending 3/31/20. Michael?
Thank you. So this report goes to the end of March. We are 75% through the year. The bottom line currently is a surplus of $130,000. We expect that to be within target at the end of the year.
Michael, we can't hear you, buddy.
Move in on that microphone, kid.
Move in on the microphone, buddy.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear.
All right. So the report is through the end of March, which makes us 75% through the year. The bottom line is right now a surplus of $133,000, but we expect it to be within target at the end of the year. Any additional funds that would be in surplus typically come from planning projects, like our PL funds. If we're behind, we have extra funds because of dues, and it just, that's the leverage, the match that we would expect. Right now, there haven't been any significant overruns or unexpected funding cuts. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions for Michael, crew? Hearing no questions, can I have a motion to approve the financial report for the third quarter?
Don't move, Dunn.
Second, Cheshire.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Item agenda 2C, approval of NVCOG 2021 budget. Who wants to handle this one?
So, with your permission, I'll start, Mr. Mayor. You all have a copy of the budget proposal. I'll let Michael speak to any of the issues. But what we did basically was we took the budget you had previously adopted preliminarily for this year. The dues are flat. And because the legislature adjourned without taking action that we expected to cut our funding, we have actually more revenue in a couple of different places. But what we've done is put it in the salary line item is the majority of the reserve cash that may not materialize once the legislature comes back into session. So that's where we stuck it. It's not planned to be spent, but it shows as balanced because it's money in, money out. If we don't use it, we don't spend it. I'm sorry, if we don't spend it, we don't collect it. So, but dues are flat. Mr. Chairman, I would certainly welcome any questions at this point. I know everyone's had a chance to look at it.
Any questions, folks, for the executive director or the others on the budget? Hearing none. Can I have a motion?
Motion to approve. Edmond, motion to approve the proposed budget for fiscal year 2021 as presented.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Rick Dunn, director report.
We're going to table the director's report today. There was no MPO meeting and nothing for me to update.
Okay, perfect. Item agenda 3, approval of the NVCOG resolution 2020-16 endorsement of the NRG Trail Thomaston to Torrington routing feasibility study. Aaron?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the final draft of the Naugatuck River Greenway Trail Thomaston to Torrington routing feasibility study report was published last month, and we'll be requesting COG endorsement of that report here today. Next slide, please.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. This is all stuff about the school board elections that are supposed to be happening.
Aaron?
So the study was funded by a Responsible Growth and TOD grant from the Connecticut Office of Policy and Management. BSC Group served as the project consultant. The project kicked off in 2018 and was overseen by a steering committee made up of municipal representatives from Torrington, Litchfield, Harwinton, and Thomaston, as well as representatives from the Northwest Hills and Naugatuck+Valley COGs, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the Naugatuck Railroad. Next slide, please.
Go ahead.
The study was designed to look at the feasibility of a route for the NRG Trail between trail sections currently being developed in Torrington and Thomaston. The study corridor follows the Naugatuck River for about 11 miles. The purpose was to catalog the existing conditions of the corridor, inventory and assess all potential routes for the NRG Trail, and ultimately identify a single preferred route with input from stakeholders and the public. The report's meant to detail that preferred route and provide information to local officials so they can make informed decisions. And more than 80 possible trail route segments were assessed, and a single preferred route was selected by the project steering committee. The report breaks out the corridor into 7 sections and provides detailed routing for the trail, along with the layout concepts, cost estimates, and phasing options for each. It also provides details on all options studied, not just the preferred route, in order to provide flexibility as local needs or conditions change in the future. The report also discusses trail development considerations like potential funding sources, permitting, maintenance, safety, and signage that might be useful for any town developing a trail, not just those along the NRG. I last presented the study to this board in February when we published a draft report for public comment. We received nearly 400 comments in response, mainly from off-highway vehicle riders at Thomaston Dam, focusing on a very small part of the overall preferred route. The most widely expressed sentiments are paraphrased here. Do not eliminate or alter the exclusive OHV use area at Thomaston Dam. Motorized and non-motorized uses cannot safely coexist. They also explain the importance of Thomaston Dam as one of the only places to ride OHVs in the state, while there are already plenty of non-motorized trails. The comments received and the project team's responses to them are detailed in Appendix H of the report. There's been a very well-organized effort to push back against the study by the New England Trail Riders Association, also known as NETRA, and other OHV groups. You can see the website here that was set up to help coordinate that effort. Since the study has been controversial among OHV riders and that fact has been widely reported, we thought we should explain how the concerns raised have been addressed throughout the study. Next slide, please. To give a little necessary background, Thomaston Dam is a flood control facility managed by the Army Corps of Engineers. The Corps owns or controls through flowage easements about 7 miles of river corridor between the dam and Route 118. And they manage a large multi-use recreation area north of the dam on federal property. In part of that recreation area west of the river, OHVs are permitted. The OHV area stretches about 4.5 miles from the dam to Spruce Brook. And the area is very popular with motorized users, but it's not an exclusive use area. Non-motorized recreation is also allowed. An abandoned railbed and paved sections of Old Route 8, parts of which traverse the OHV area, were identified early on in the study as potential routes for the NRG trail. They're attractive options because they would require little improvement, they're on public land, and they're already open to pedestrians and cyclists. Next slide, please. Those route options, among others, were presented at a series of public information meetings in 2019, and there was a very large turnout of OHV riders at those meetings, and their comments were very similar to the ones I just discussed. Following those meetings, the project team met with the Army Corps of Engineers and OHV representatives and conducted additional site walks to gain a better understanding of the OHV area. The project team learned that there are over 26 miles of mapped trails in that OHV area, most of which are one-way single-track trails. Route 8 and the abandoned railbed generally split the area in half and are used for two-way travel to access various parts of the trail network and as a return path to the parking area. The project team also looked at additional options that could avoid the OHV area. Next slide, please. The input from the OHV riders and the Army Corps were taken into consideration, and it's reflected in the report's recommendations. Wherever there was a feasible alternative, the preferred route completely avoided the OHV area, despite greater construction costs and difficulty in many cases. The preferred route completely avoids the narrower abandoned railbed, where the safe separation would have been difficult. But between Valley Road and in Harwinton and Thomaston Dam, there is no viable route to avoid the OHV area. East of the river, terrain and several large private properties make development of a multi-use trail difficult and prohibitively expensive. On the west side of the river in that same corridor section, the wide paved Old Route 8 is already open to pedestrians and bicyclists in addition to OHVs. To address the issue of safety, the project team worked directly with the Army Corps and OHV representatives to develop a concept for a safe separation of motorized and non-motorized users along Old Route 8. That concept is pictured here, where a portion of the paved Old Route 8 will carry non-motorized greenway traffic, and new one-way single-track trails will be built parallel to carry OHV traffic. The uses will be separated physically with vegetation where possible and with guardrail where space is constrained.
Rick.
Yes,
No
ma'am.
shared use of single-track trails was suggested. Routing of the NRG trail through the OHV area solely on a 2-mile stretch of Old Route 8 using this separation concept was agreed to be feasible by the OHV and Army Corps representatives. And it was ultimately selected as the preferred route, which is presented in the report. And just to wrap it up, the project team took OHV user concerns seriously throughout the study, and those concerns are reflected in the preferred route and in the report. There was never any intent to restrict or eliminate OHV use at Thomaston Dam, and OHVs do not have exclusive use of the area. The concepts developed provide for the safe enjoyment of Thomaston Dam recreation area by all permitted users. That said, this is a high-level feasibility study, and the routing and concepts presented in the study are suggestions. The Army Corps and municipalities are not bound to them. The Corps has the sole discretion to develop or not develop a multi-use trail on federal land at Thomaston Dam. And again, the area in contention is a very small part of the overall preferred route that's presented in the report. The overall routing and everything included in the report was approved by the project steering committee by consensus, and today we're asking for your endorsement. And as the only CEO here directly involved in the project, I'm not sure if First Selectman Moen would like to add anything. Otherwise, I'm happy to answer any questions.
I would simply add that you've done a fine job, Aaron, and a narrative here explaining all the processes and what we've gone through. It is a difficult section to build because of the resistance that is being provided, but it is really the only viable way to move when this ultimately gets built out of Thomaston to connect with the northern section that would go up to Torrington. I think, again, Aaron, I'd only be reiterating everything Aaron has said. We've gone through public comment. We've heard from the off-trail riders, and while we respect that enormously, there really is, we're seeking to share an area in a safe manner. We have not gotten, unfortunately, we have not gotten a great deal of support from the Army Corps on this matter either. However, in the future, I think as the trail does get built, and I indicate in the future, and they become the linchpin of the connectivity, then they're going to have to see the reality of it. I believe they will see the reality of it and then begin to support us. But until that point in time, I'm sure we will continue to get more feedback. With that said, I being the only one really in the lower valley who's involved in this routing study, I support it personally.
Thank you, Ed. Anyone else have any further comment or questions for Aaron? Hearing none, may I have a motion?
So moved, Don. Second, Naugatuck.
Thank you, Pete. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? None. Thank you. Good job, Aaron. Okay, item agenda number 4, approval of the MOU between Connecticut Brownfields Land Bank and NVCOG. Rick?
Sure. So can I ask, is Attorney O'Connor on the call? We see him. There he is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gary. So this is the next step in our discussion regarding the Connecticut Brownfields Land Bank and the NVCOG. And what we've been asked is if we would essentially run the land bank as part of our Brownfields program. It's something at the staff level we support very much. So following direction from the executive board previously, we've developed a memorandum of understanding that Attorney O'Connor has drafted and redrafted a few times. And I think the shortest version of this is that we will remain two separate entities, two legally separate entities. I will be the executive director of the NVCOG and the president of the Brownfields Land Bank separately. The Land Bank Board is changing their bylaws pending adoption of an MOU to give up the majority of their seats, and the NVCOG by agreement would name would appoint the board members, the majority of the board members on the land bank. So I think that summarizes it, and we've gotten you the document earlier this week. Everyone should have received it. I think Attorney O'Connor and I are happy to answer any questions unless Gary needs to add something now.
Attorney O'Connor, do you have anything to add, sir?
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
I just point out that what we try to do is craft a document that provided maximum amount of flexibility for NVCOG, allowed it control of really what's happening on the land bank board by having a majority of the positions on that board, but yet at the same time, making clear that, that the land bank and NVCOG are separate organizations. And, what we did in the document is enumerated the areas that we would provide administrative and technical assistance, and those areas that in which the land bank has to cooperate and be responsible for, filing the appropriate information with, for instance, the DECD to maintain their certification, with the IRS to maintain their 501c3. That's in a nutshell. And so this would be like having a standalone, a single purpose entity in which NVCOG had the majority of the, had voting control essentially of the board. So we think it gives us the, appropriate control of what's going on to ensure that it's going in the right direction, but yet at the same time, it recognizes and keeps the independence of the two organizations.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Anyone have any questions?
Just briefly, Mayor Edmond, I believe this to be true, but I want to ask the question just the same. This will come at no additional cost to the membership of this COG. Is that correct? That the administrative costs will be paid for through the funding that is forwarded to the land use to the Brownfields Board?
Yes. We currently have a staffing agreement with the land bank, which we would continue under this arrangement, where we bill the land bank for work that we perform on their behalf.
Correct, and we are, and hence we are compensated accordingly, correct?
Yes, almost exactly the same as all other projects we run, same manner.
That's all. Thank you for the clarity.
Other questions? Okay. Hearing no other questions or comments, can I have a motion to approve?
So moved, Edmond Thomaston.
Second, Miller Seymour.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So it's my understanding on that subject that we'll have 6 seats from the NVCOG on the Land Bank Board?
Yes, Gary, that's correct. There's 10 total seats currently on the board, and we'll have a majority.
Yeah, it's the way we wrote it is we'll have 6 seats, but no less than a majority. If for some reason the Land Bank Board decided to increase their membership on the board, we'd always designate a majority of the seats.
Okay, so to all of you out there, there are, some seats available. If you have interest in being a part of this Land Bank Board, please email Rick, and we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out accordingly. Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Mayor? Yes, sir.
Mayor, excuse me, if I may ask a question, Edmond. So regarding the Land Bank Board, are you utilizing the same membership that is now on the Brownfield Committee to be on that board from as representatives of the COG, or is this going to be a totally separate matter?
The way that it's drafted, the way it's written is that the COG board will select the members for the 6 Brownfields Land Bank spots.
Got that, Ed?
Yeah, no determination has been made yet, is what you're indicating.
Yeah, it's the pleasure of the full board.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Okay, so again, if anyone has an interest, there are 6 positions. We have a pretty large board, but if you have an interest, maybe an email to Rick, and then maybe expressing, your not only your desire to be a part of the Land Bank Board, but maybe just a little bit more so that we can make some decisions. But we'll do this in a very transparent manner. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Gary.
Thank you.
Item 5. Approval of the NVCOG Resolution 2020-13 authorization for NVCOG Executive Director to enter into an agreement with Circa to support the Resilient Connecticut Project. Aaron.
So, with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'll speak to the issue initially.
Oh, sure.
You have a memo from Joanna and Aaron in your packets. I put it up on the screen. And actually, Joanna Wozniak-Brown from UConn is on the call with us in case there are any questions for her. So this is a great program that has to do with coastline resiliency, and it's part of the area that we cover. We'd like to be involved in this. What we're asking for is the board's permission, authorization for me to enter into the agreement. However, we do have a problem in interpreting some federal law for this federal funding, and we disagree on the way the COG will be compensated for its time. So I will not be signing this unless we can resolve that issue. So that's the request is just authorize me to enter into the agreements, but that I'll have the discretion to demur and not enter it if the terms are not correct. I'm happy to answer any questions on that.
Folks, do you have questions on this?
Well, I guess my question is if, again, Edmond, I'm sorry to dominate, guys, but Edmond, I got a question. Rick, what is the issue regarding the funding?
You say that again, Ed?
What is the issue at hand regarding the funding?
So as a recipient of federal funds, we have to follow what's called the uniform guidance from Office of Management and Budget. So as you know, when we charge our time to another grant outside of NVCOG or outside of our members, we're required to charge our full indirect rate. And that's a matter of law. We have no choice. We must do that. UConn, who's also a recipient of federal funds in this case, is interpreting that guidance differently. So instead of I think our rate is 124%, they want to give us 10%, which is the de minimis under the regulation. We feel they're misinterpreting the regulation. We've talked with the people who approve our rates. We're confident that we have the correct interpretation. This is not just us, by the way. There are other regions who are having the same difficulty. And even if you wanted to enter into it and said, oh, you would pick up the cost locally, you can't under the law. We have to distribute all indirect costs across all programs to ensure that no one federal program is paying more than their fair share.
Well, it makes perfect sense to me, certainly. The only other question I would have is there any, is there an issue if we delay the decision on this and perhaps table this until you can get a clearer definition and more definitive funding plan? Is there any jeopardy there?
Yeah, I think there is. We have to, if we're going to resolve this, we're going to have to enter into this agreement within a week, I would say, or two. It has to get started in time for June, especially with some of the remote work issues. This brings a person in, Aaron or Joanna, please correct me if I'm wrong, but there's a person associated with this who will work out of this office or work at your direction.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is Joanna. So yeah, there's already we've started with GIS technical support, and it would be between Aaron, myself. We would be also working on the planning support side.
Other questions? Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make that motion with the understanding that the executive director, Rick, would not enter into this contract if he continues to deem these the rate of reimbursement unfavorable.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, done.
Any discussion further? I would just ask Rick that you keep all the members of this board in close contact as to how this is going or not going. So,
Sure.
So we all know what's happening in case we get questions or calls from other entities, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, great. Thank you. Item agenda number 6, NVCOG Planning and Transportation, approval of the NVCOG Resolution 2020-14 agreement regarding transportation planning and funding in the Bridgeport-Stamford TMA. Mark Nielsen.
Good morning. This is basically an update of an MOU we already have in place with MetroCog and WestCog. Between the three COGs, we make up the Bridgeport-Stamford TMA. Federal regulations require us to, create this agreement on how we coordinate and collaborate on our transportation planning for the urbanized area. It basically states that we share documents, we collaborate when we're doing our transportation plans, developing the unified planning work programs, and if we are doing any other planning studies, that we basically work together and make sure there's consistency among the regions. Like I said, it's an update. I want to say our current MOU was executed in 2010. So this is at the last federal certification review, they asked us to just update it. So that's what we've done. And it's been reviewed. It was developed by amongst the three regions. So we've all vetted it among our board and everything. So WestCog approved it last week, and so we're asking for endorsement this week from NVCOG.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mark. Any questions, anyone? Can I have a motion, please?
So moved, done.
Do we have a second?
Second, Miller.
Okie dokie. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Perfect. Okay, item agenda 6B, approval of NVCOG Resolution 2020-15, selection of the lowest qualified bidder for the third-party review of Exchange Place project in Waterbury. Karen.
Yes, good morning, everyone. This is Karen. So we have been moving right along with a number of lots of projects, a lot of them getting close to the construction phase, which is really exciting. This month I put out a request for proposals for the third-party design review for the Waterbury Exchange Place revitalization project, a very exciting and important project right in downtown Waterbury. I received 4 proposals from our list of on-call, pre-qualified on-call engineers. Weston and Sampson gave us the best price at $6,425. So the resolution is just that NVCOG endorses the selection of Weston and Sampson to perform the third-party review and authorizes the executive director to execute any and all agreements related to this design review.
Okay. Any questions, folks? Karen, out of curiosity, what's the next lowest bid?
I had it pulled up on a different screen. It was like 7,300 and something, I believe.
Okay, so pretty close.
Yep, and there was another one for 8,000, and then there was some crazy outlier at 34,000.
Yeah, there's always one of those.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, great. And you're right, it is a really exciting project, and thank you for saying that. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved, done.
Second, Ed Moan.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Opposed? Thank you, Karen. Okay. Item agenda 6C, impacts of the coronavirus on local truck and vehicle volumes. Christian.
Good morning, thank you. I'd like
Welcome.
to share with you several of the tools we've been using in-house to track travel demand locally and across the state and nationally. I'll start with the local data, which I have a table of here on the slide. This comes from the Streetlight data platform that we've been using on a number of projects throughout the last year and may find ourselves increasingly relying on in the forthcoming year, given the atypical situation. I think what's interesting that comes out of this table, which compares current volumes against a year ago and the month of January, is that we have pretty consistent drops in volume across the region, where the volume drops is similar on the Rochambeau Bridge on I-84, as well as, say, Route 6 in Bristol. Additionally, I thought it was interesting that you see where there's a higher concentration of office space, that drop has been more significant, and you see that at the old Stratford Road in Shelton location, which is directly across from the Shelton corporate park there. I'd like to encourage anyone or staff to reach out to us with data requests, not just this type of comparative analysis, but we also can provide data on travel habits from more typical time periods, say 2019. This data can include volume, average speed, turn counts even. Let's see, if we can go to the next slide. I have some federal data as well that might be useful to reference in-house. You can kind of quickly get an idea of how populations are reducing their movement as a result of social distancing. On the left, you see the national map with the brighter the yellow, the greater the reduction in movement. And on the right, you see the DOT volumes from across the state. I think the bar chart I put up there was from Route 34 right through Derby. So you see how that population, that volume dropped right off as the stay-at-home orders were put in place. I additionally think this data, this national statewide data, is going to be useful going forward as we can observe how residents are responding once the actual stay-at-home orders are lifted. We've also been following freight data. The short version of that is truck volume is down significantly less than passenger vehicles. It's down only around 13%, more passenger vehicles are down closer to 41% nationally. However, the most recent data coming out showing significant drops in rail freight, with the highest drops in automotive and energy sectors. So if there are any questions, feel free.
Any questions, folks? Kind of scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, might be fun to track it. It really might be kind of fun to track it, Christian, as we, or whenever we decide, I guess, that we're going to reopen, or it might be kind of cool to see how that goes and use that information in conjunction with to see how the economy is going in general, right?
Absolutely, yeah, we'll be watching this.
Mr. Mayor,
I have one question. What was the definition of a truck? Is it just tractor trailers, or is it six-wheel trucks or pickups and vans, or?
So it breaks down. That's the average across the commercial vehicles. Long haul trucks have seen the greatest drop. Short distance hauling has seen a much smaller drop, and in some cases even an increase. So it depends what you're talking about. It also can apply to just vehicles that are registered as commercial vehicles. That might just be a pickup truck or a company car.
Okay, thanks.
I would just add, I put the chart back up. The one on the right with the bars, that's actually a live chart that's running. And I think in your memo, you have the link to, Christian provided the link. That is every day. Those are the continuous count stations that DOT has around the state. So day by day, that's each one of those bars is a day. You can see the change day by day. The part of the problem is there's not many locations on this site around the state, and not many in our region in particular, but there are a few. Our staffers can get you information, specific information about other locations from the data that we have on the left side. So if you have questions, please contact us, contact Christian or Mark.
Okay, folks. Any other questions? Okay. Item agenda 6D as in David, FTA section 5310, fiscal year 2018 funding announcement and new solicitations. Gabriel.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So a few days ago, our organization reached out to all your municipalities, notifying you about the Connecticut Department of Transportation Section 5310 grant program, which is now open. This grant helps pay for really critical services, especially for disabled and senior transportation services. And the deadline for this grant is June 26th. Many of your communities have already applied for this grant in the past. And if any of you are interested in applying for this grant or learning more about this grant, I strongly encourage you to reach out to me. And but very briefly, I want to go over it. So this grant offers 3 different types. There's operational, which covers operational expenses and services. There's non-traditional, which covers equipment. And then there's also the traditional, which covers the service bus and the minivans, which are most popular among applicants. And in order to apply for this grant, you have to be either a nonprofit organization or municipality. And there's a match that ranges between 20 to 50%.
Gabriel, when you send this out to the towns, can you tell me who the type of, is it go through the transit district members or does it go to town departments?
That's a great question. It mostly goes through the Department of Senior Services or the Health and Social Services Department. So those are the type of departments that really would apply for this grant. And I've also reached out to many of the members on the Greater Waterbury Transit District as well.
And I'm sorry, Gabriel, when is the deadline?
June 26th.
June 26th, okay. All right, good. All right, anybody have any questions? Okay, very good. Thank you, Gabriel. Item agenda 7, COVID-19 discussion of state of Connecticut long-term recovery committees. Rick Dunn, Joanna.
So a lot has been happening very quickly. Much has changed since we actually put this item on the agenda. We have an agenda item A. John Field is on the call with us now as well. So John has convened a meeting in our area for the long-term recovery committee process. So the way the plan was set up, the LTR was set up, and it really was something designed for a disaster like a hurricane or a tornado. And what happened is the governor's people have identified that they need a wider plan over a longer time horizon dealing with some different subject matter areas. So the towns are all supposed to appoint a coordinator who is not emergency first responder. Towns are supposed to further appoint committees, which are the long-term recovery committees under the state plan. So John convened the meeting for the COG directors from primarily in Region 5. So myself, Rick Lynn at Northwest, and Francis Pickering at WestCOG. And we are putting together the steering committee right now for this effort. And we're in the midst of nominating people that we're going to send up to the state. So we're trying to make selections and determine subject areas for that. And we're attempting to deal with issues that really are not being dealt with statewide. The whole point of it is to, at the ground level, figure out between people, providers, where are the unmet needs, and then try and match up resources with need as we can at the local level. Then anything that we cannot match up will raise up through this process, through the DEMIS regions and up to the state. So the state can take a look statewide at where are the gaps, what needs to be funded, and so forth. So we're partnering with the community foundations, business, the chambers. We've asked for them to decide to pick one person to represent all the chambers of commerce, the metro chambers in our region. We've also asked the community foundations, the directors, to pick one. And then we have other appointees from education, from labor, from other groups that need to be represented on the steering committee. Steering committee is really just going to facilitate the committees and the input from the towns. And then I think we're going to have another meeting on Monday, and then on Tuesday we have to get the names up to the state. So I think I've kind of covered it, John or Joanna, if something needs to be added there.
Yeah, and I just want to reiterate that the local long-term recovery committees. They're emerging from this whole process of the local emergency operations plan, which asked the towns to appoint a local recovery coordinator. And to that end, some towns have, some towns haven't, but the Region 5 office, John Field's office, has issued a survey asking, if you haven't, first of all, asking if you have appointed a local recovery coordinator, who that person is and their contact information. And if they haven't, it's just a gentle reminder to do so.
Okay, John, any further comment?
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to be on the meeting with you. I think Rick and Joanna have covered it for the most part. The main objective as the governor moves forward to move into I'll call it very cautious, slow reopening of the state. Obviously, the big focus is going to be on what are those unmet needs that we need to address. So this is a result of that objective from the governor's office as we move forward into the future and trying to get our state reopened. And this is just one of the first steps to try to assist in that happening. So.
Okay, great. Well, we're certainly looking forward to being kept informed, and good luck.
So, Mr. Chairman, if I might, what we plan to do as NVCOG, Joanna and I, Joanna's heading it up, and she has staff working on this. We're going to reprioritize some of our state resources this year and next year toward COVID-19. And we'll be coming back to the executive board with outlines of strategies that we think we should carry out as a COG beneath this regional steering committee. Get your permission, get your input, and we want to make sure that we're covering all bases on behalf of the towns, particularly when it comes to regional business and jobs. We think it's an important thing that we keep coordinated at our regional level. One thing I did not say, I need to add this. So as you all know, the Homeland Security regions don't match up exactly with the COGs. So Ansonia, Derby, Seymour, and Cheshire, and Shelton, Derby, Ansonia, Seymour, and Cheshire are in Area 2. They will be handled in the Area 5 in this process that we're running. And it'll go up through the Area 5 structure. Same with Bristol from Area 3. Will also come into that process for us. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that as opposed to your regular Homeland Security regions, for the recovery committees, it'll all be Region 5.
Any questions, folks? Well, sadly, we're at the end of the road here. I hope you all enjoy a very nice and comfortable Mother's Day weekend. And
I've got a couple questions, if I could.
Sure, Lenny. Before you start, I just want to let you all know I've got to go myself because I have a press conference in just a few minutes, but have a safe weekend. And I'm turning it over to you, Lenny, and I think Mayor Loretti's on the phone as well, okay?
Okay, thanks, Mayor. Have a good.
Thank you.
Just what are you folks doing with your senior buses? Are you just doing medicals? Or are you doing any shopping trips? That question has come up as to whether or not that's going on. And then the second one is, for those of you who have regional.
Len, this is Ed Moan. We're continuing to do both. Some of our seniors go grocery shopping on our senior bus, and certainly we are doing medicals as well. So okay. We're continuing our service for our seniors as if nothing has changed. We have our drivers wearing masks. We do the same thing with our riders. We ensure we have a protocol where we make certain that they're not exhibiting any symptoms of COVID before they can board the bus. But otherwise, we're providing the service as always.
Okay, thank you. And then the next question is for those of you who have regional school boards. We're having trouble getting some guidance from the state on school board elections. Our in Region 14, our elections are normally, the nominating committee is now, and the election is the first week in June, but they're not telling us what to do. We can't have elections just yet. So I don't know if any other towns are what they're doing, any other regions, I mean, but we've been told that we probably should push it off until sometime in August, but they said if which is contrary to what the law says, but they said if you violate the law, we'll support you. So we're not getting much what's real hard guidance from Hartford. So I don't know if any of you any other regions have decided what they're going to do with their regional school boards.
Yeah, call me in 20 minutes.
Lenny, I did send an email, I think you copied on it, to Rick to see if we could get any support, as soon as possible.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
That's all that I had.
Okay. Rick, did you read my email this morning regarding the Region 14 elections and information from the governor's office?
I have not seen any email that came in after 9 a.m.
Okay, all right.
Is it something I can deal with right now? Let's see. You sent it to, I don't.
We just need some guidance, Lenny and I, and maybe other regional school districts. We're having elections this year, and we need something from the governor's office legally that we can postpone it. They did say that they would support us if we decided to postpone it, but I'd rather have something legal.
Yeah, of course.
In case the citizen has a question.
All right. Yep. So let me get on that email, and I'll try and get back to all of you. And if as it may apply to more communities, we'll just distribute it to all this.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything else?
Hey, Rick.
Yes, John.
If I can provide just a quick update, what's going on here, if you don't
Please.
mind. Yeah. So good morning again, everyone. Just to keep you in the loop on what's going on from the state's perspective and Demis in general, but we continue to move forward in trying to address all your PPE shortages of your first responders, your long-term care facilities, your health districts. I'm currently right now in Bethlehem at the level, we call them level ones, which is your health departments and EMS providers and so forth. Also we continue to do the small businesses. I encourage you, if you have small businesses in your communities, to get the message out to them to go to the CBIA website and the portal so that they can get included in some free distribution of PPE. As we have been doing, we'll continue to supply the PPE to the municipality, who will then disperse it to the appropriate businesses that sign up. And that's been going on. Yesterday was the second week, and we'll continue until those masks are out. So I encourage you to still notify your small businesses that that's going on still, and we'll continue until we have no more masks to move. So we also are starting to plan a little bit as we start to talk about reopening and steps of reopening. As you heard in the long-term recovery side of things, we've also started to do some demobilization planning and starting to think of how we're going to break down everything that's been set up. In particular, one perfect example is the PPE warehouse. We're actually looking for another site, first of all, to continue operations more long-term. The current site they have was more of a short-term solution and has worked out very well, but they're looking for a more long-term solution to have warehouse and move commodities as much as possible. So they're in the process of doing that. The state of Connecticut has made a request to FEMA to cover 100% reimbursement. I have not received any word on how they made out with that. That's the public assistance. We currently sit at 75%. And I know they've made a request to the president to approve 100% reimbursement, but we're not sure how that's going to work out for us. Also on the PA side, the public assistance side, if you haven't applied, gone into the portal and applied. You need to do so. As I was on this meeting, we received the information of who applied and who hasn't applied. So I'll be working with our public assistance unit and FEMA to notify those folks that haven't applied to make sure that you do, if you want to get some reimbursement for all the costs associated with COVID. I did, in relation to that, I did send out something yesterday regarding, I'm in the process, sorry, I didn't send it out yet. I'm in the process of developing an email, which you'll see soon, regarding your volunteer hours being eligible for reimbursement also. So some additional guidance will come out probably later today on that. And then we also are supposed to get some additional guidance today in regards to this soft opening on May 20th. The governor's office, working with all the different department heads, is working on providing some guidance on some of the things that we'll be trying to reopen. So I know we received something this morning on beaches and parks. I participated in a conference call this morning on that and how they're going to do that. So you'll be seeing more information coming out on that. And it was supposed to be out today. So we'll see how that goes today. Whatever information, I'll continue to feed as much as I can to you. I know sometimes, though the information is redundant, and I apologize for that, but I just want to make sure everyone's getting the information they're supposed to be getting from the governor's office in the state of Connecticut as much as I can. So I'll continue to do that and try to, feed the information to you and your EMDs as we move forward. So I think that's all I have for now, Rick.
Thank you, John. I appreciate it. Is there anyone else who wants to address the membership before we get a motion to adjourn?
Good morning. I just want to say a couple of things from Congresswoman Hayes' office, if that's all right.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for your continued work. I especially want to say congratulations to this group for the $800,000 Brownfields grant that just came through and was announced earlier this week. That's great to see. I want to make a pitch that you promote completing the census to your residents. Right now, Connecticut has a response rate of 61%. District 5 is at 59%. District 3 is at 60%. And at this time, the window for responding to the 2020 census is closing on August 14th. In 2010, we were at 70%, so we have a ways to go. And they did actually request another extension through October 31st, but we don't know if that's going to happen. So if you would promote responding to the census, it's really important to get federal dollars back to our congressional districts, as well as maintain congressional representation. I'll be reaching out to my District 5 municipal CEOs with a grant opportunity from the IRS to help low-income individuals help complete their tax returns and access their economic impact payments if they haven't or had any troubles with that. Our office continues with our constituent services and our casework, although we've all been teleworking. So if any of your residents need any help from Congresswoman Hayes, please reach out.
Thank you, Janine.
Thank you, guys. Stay safe.
Any other questions, conversation? Oh. Mayor Loretti, did I hear you call for a motion to adjourn?
Where is he? There. Now he's unmuted.
All right,
I
I'm
think-
unmuted now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All right. All those in a motion for adjournment?
So moved, Edmond.
Second.
By
Second, Woodbury.
All right.
and those all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Thank you all for your help.
Done.
Be safe. Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
You too, brother.